ressenti partout.
Well, did you do anything like anything other special? Like, did you do that 4th of July, or what did you do? Where did you go to the
No,
beach?
not really. I just had dinner with my sister. We made steaks.
Nice.
Yeah. Although, yeah, the steaks that we got, they were thinner than what I was used to, so they were a little bit overcooked. But not all that terribly.
Do you I what I well I like 4th of July just because it's probably my second favorite holiday.
Hmm.
Uh, I like. I mean, I didn't go out to watch fireworks, but I everyone's been popping them off all week in the neighborhood, and
Yeah, same
I
here.
can I can look outside my window and I can kind of see the skyline of people shooting off fireworks and stuff. But I think the idea of you know well, our country wasn't necessarily founded on that day, but it was like we were kind of staking our claims, like we're declaring our independence, and it's remembrance of that very beginning, which could have cost all those people their lives, yet
Hmm.
they still signed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, and that you get to I ate some hot dogs, watched some racing, uh, had some beers. It was great.
Hmm. That's cool.
And I was not ashamed to fly the flag, unlike our friend Colin Kaepernick. Not liking the
Oh
Betsy
yeah,
Ross flag shoes.
yeah. I mean, that wasn't in our show notes, but I guess we can talk about it a little bit. It's like, dude, I just want this guy to go away.
Well, here's what I think is the amazing part, right? Is Nike is paying him. They're paying him millions of dollars,
Right?
hundreds of millions of dollars actually, to be their spokesman.
Mm-hmm.
How often is it where your paid spokesman is the one that's dictating the shoe and policy?
Yeah, the
Because I don't know.
sales and things
I'll
like
be
yeah.
honest. I can't think of how many shoes that Colin Kaepernick has actually sold for them. I mean, obviously, a lot of athletes are signed with Nike, especially basketball players, what have
Right.
you.
Uh-huh.
Um, but with him, it's like I don't really know how many shoes. Like it's like I'm buying Nikes because of Colin Kaepernick. I
Right. Yeah. Like I think yeah, their best selling brand is the Jordans.
exactly my because that's the thing. It's like when you think of Nike, you think of Michael Jordan. I think basketball players when I think of Nike. I mean, obviously Nike
Yeah.
does more than just basketball shoes, obviously,
Mhm.
but the fact that
Well,
like one
technically,
like
he's not a football player anymore.
well, right, but I'm just saying is whereas like let's say Michael Jordan had said something like this, where it's like I could see where, yeah, you know what? If Michael Jordan is like not comfortable with that, he actually is producing, I mean, money hand over fist for that company, and
Hmm.
we're like, okay, maybe
Right.
we'll
Yeah.
take a look at
They'll
this.
consider MJ because they make him money.
What?
But knowing Michael Jordan and like his quote saying like even Republicans buy sneakers. He's a true capitalist.
Yeah,
It's like
Michael Jordan not
there's no like really worry that Jordan would ever dictate to Nike about selling certain shoes. But if Nike did kowtow to Jordan, I'd understand it. I'd
that
respect
makes
it too.
that makes a little bit more sense because
Dude, it makes a lot
Jordan is
more sense.
yeah, Jordan has made them billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so if and so he actually in a lot of ways, yeah, he's the face of the company. If not, I don't know if he has any ownership stake in Nike at all at this
Right.
point. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, but the fact that Colin Kaepernick said this, what the fuck? He doesn't. I don't think he's. I would think he's maybe responsible for what maybe like, and this is a very conservative, very kind estimate, but like what he maybe contributes to 0.5% of shoe sales, and they're paying him. Why is he dictating to them, what shoes they can and can't sell? Because if this was like any other, company, I'd be like, oh, okay, you don't like what we're selling? Okay, bye. It's like,
Yeah, it would be kind of like what is it? Uh, Comparable. It'd be like if Monster Energy put out um, Monster Energy put out this new flavor called Peach Delight, and the Monster like Energy like women's spokesmodels like the booth babes like
mhm.
said like, oh, that's so sexist against women, and it's like you shouldn't sell that at all, and they listen to them. I mean, that'll be the equivalent of like Colin Kaepernick telling Nike to not sell this Betsy Ross shoe.
Yeah, and that was the first, well, one of the first things that pops in my mind with this is like, well, I didn't know Colin Kaepernick was a board member at Nike now. Like, it's
Right?
like,
Yeah. Like
how is he?
yeah. How much of a controlling stake does Kaepernick have in the company? Oh, none.
I
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay, then shut the fuck up. That's all I gotta do is shut the fuck up.
but then it sheds light on the beyond that, where it's pretty much like, so the whole flag controversy is like, oh, I'm kneeling for the national anthem because of police brutality. Well, that was all bullshit.
Right? Yeah. Because initially he said like, oh, I'm not disrespecting the flag. I'm not just disrespecting what it stands for. I'm just protesting against police brutality. It's
Yeah,
like, which
well,
is
it's like,
somehow related, that somehow is connected to the flag, but I'm not protesting the flag. But now that he comes out and said like, oh, this flag is racist. It's like, well, was it racist when Obama was flying it, at his inauguration in 2012? Was it a symbol of
yeah.
racism, for Obama?
Well, remember with Colin Kaepernick, he doesn't vote. Even though like uh, that's his way to make changes in policy and stuff like that is to actually vote. But he doesn't do that.
God.
He just bitches and complains. And it's like, well, oh, you didn't vote. Okay, well, so then you actually don't really give a shit about these issues. You're just gonna take in all that money and then but bitch about everything else. And if you're so with all that money, if you're so against thinking that it's not just a for people to think this. It's if you think that this country was this horrible slave state, and yeah, we had slavery. Just about every country in the
Yeah,
history of the
at the
world
time
has
had
had slavery
slavery.
at
I
some
mean,
point.
technically, yes, there's still slavery that exists. But at least in the United States, there has not
But
been
remember,
slavery since the 1860s.
remember, we don't talk about that because it's that's over there. We don't care about that slavery. Uh, the
Yeah, we
slavery
don't
that's
care about the
actually
we don't care
ongoing.
about the darkies in the other countries.
Yeah, well, no, we actually don't care about the slavery that's still ongoing. We care
Yeah,
about something that ended
and it's another
150.
thing. What is it with half breeds? And like they just suck. Colin Kaepernick sucks. He's a happy. Obama sucked. He was a happy. Um, who else sucked? I don't know why, but it's always like those half breeds who just suck. They just like they're just kind of like shitty people all around. I think it's because like they never were fully accepted from either side.
Maybe that's what it is. But here's the thing: if if your true intentions are like you feel like morally like uncomfortable with the idea that, oh, this country was founded on all this stuff, and it's like, it is not a great country. It was founded on slavery and all this evil stuff. The what's it? Uh, that it was founded on all these things. Then why not move? If you really feel morally like you're struggling morally with that idea, well, what country would you move to get away from that? And how? And then why are you still here? Like it's
Well,
obvious
here's
if it's bugging you that much that. And I'm not saying it was obviously, yeah, we did have slavery at one point, but yeah, if you really feel that way, how can you live here?
here's a dirty little secret, about nations and about nation buildings or nation building. They're all on a foundation of skulls.
Oh yeah.
Without exception. Without exception. They're all nations are their foundations are built on a mound of skulls. Rome, Britain, what is it? Babylon, Egypt. All
Greece.
all conquering nations. Their nations were built on mounds of skulls, and that's the
Oh
and that's
yeah.
the ugly truth of it all. And like these people who are just so historically what is it, historically out of tune or uninformed. It's like they think that America is somehow unique, like that that they have this, that we have like the stain of like slavery or original sin or however you want to classify it. It's like all nations have it. All nations
Yep.
have the same stains, has the same original sin. It's like without exception.
Yeah. It's well, but that's the thing is like these people, claim that all this horrible stuff, and they feel all this moral outrage, yet they're still here. So technically, they're participating in it.
Yeah, what is it? What is it? Silence is complicity.
Yeah.
What
It's
they how they like how they like to throw that around. Yeah, your silence is complicity. That you not voting Colin Kaepernick is your complicity to the system. No matter how many knees you take or what animals adorn your socks. It doesn't matter. Your silence is complicity. So shut the fuck up.
yeah. But yeah, I figure since we were talking a little Fourth of July, like that was definitely the big news topic that was going about, and like Stephen A. Smith, who is no conservative, I'll say that. Even he said he's like, I'm done with Colin Kaepernick. He went on that rant a number of years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah. 16. Yeah. After the 2016 election. Yeah, he just I don't ever want to hear the name Colin Kaepernick.
in his fucking like 9,000 interceptions that he throws. It's
Right.
just um right. Well, what else we had to talk about tonight, Andy?
Mm. Oh well, it wasn't again not on the show notes, but did you hear about the Little Mermaid casting controversy?
Uh, to me, it's a made up controversy, but yeah, I've heard
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
let's see, uh, you do you care, Andy? Because I don't.
Here's the thing. Like I care just a tiny bit, only because it's part of my childhood, and the backstory on that is that every single time I go over to my cousin's house and sometimes and this was kind of unavoidable because her mom used to watch, like my aunt used to watch the both of us when I was little, and then my mom worked, and at the time she did. So like every time I went over, we'd have to watch The Little Mermaid because my cousin, even though we're the same age, we're the same year, she's 6 months older than me. And so
Okay.
in Korean culture, even if you're older by a minute, you're still considered the elder,
Yep.
right? And so whatever they say goes. And so whenever I went over to her house, she'd always want to watch The Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean,
so it is a part of my childhood in that way, and I do enjoy the songs, you know. So in a very small way, I care, but not like. Do I really? Am I like foamy at the mouth and using the hashtag not my Ariel? No.
yeah, and you
Um,
know who else foam me at
but
the mouth?
what was it?
Yeah, and you know who else isn't like that either?
Hmm.
Pretty much everyone, because
Right.
I can't think of I have not heard one tweet, one anything about like these raving racists who are so invested that are also huge Disney fans that are so up in arms over Ariel being black now.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is why I said it's a made up controversy. All the it's complete horseshit. It doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah. And what is it? I want to cite two YouTubers, um, black YouTubers. One being Young Ripa 59 or I forget, but Young Ripa, and he's a commentator. He's not on the right. He considers himself like center left, and he doesn't like Trump and what have you. But he hates the idea of tokenizing. And he
Yeah,
and he always goes off on the tokenization of characters, like most recently in Spider-Man, where they in all but name you know changed Mary Jane into a black girl. They don't call her Mary Jane, they just say MJ, but we all know that just means Mary Jane.
yeah, and she doesn't really even act like MJ. That's the other thing that
And
pisses me off.
exactly, I mean, you could say that, oh, it's an updated kind of, it's a different kind of sass, but it's like it's not the sass that MJ is. She's confident, and she, as much crap that slinged at her, she can throw it, back at you just as hard.
Right, yeah, it's kind of like this. Whereas the current MJ, and I haven't seen the recent one, but I'm going based off the first Spider-Man film, where it's like
Yeah,
she's more like this weird emo chick that like is kind of a bitchy.
yeah,
It's
that's
like
what. Yeah, she's.
that's. I mean, I don't care what like her skin color is like, but you completely changed MJ's personality. That bothers me because then that
Mhm.
changes the character, and I don't like the direction that the character is going. Like I said, it doesn't matter the skin color, but when you're changing the essence of the character, you've lost me. That was one of the few low points that I had with the current Spider-Man.
Mhm. Right. I mean, completely divorced of the source material. I think Zendaya, or I forget how to pronounce her name, but the
Yeah,
actress who
Zendaya.
plays her, I thought she did a perfectly serviceable job. If it was any other character, and again, I get it. They're not calling her Mary Jane Watson. They're just calling her MJ. But again, that is the those are the initials of the character, and that she does frequently go by in the comic books.
Yeah, she's
So
not a bad actress.
yeah,
That's not it's
so for all intents and purposes, that is Mary Jane Watson. This is like the Marvel version of the MCU version of Mary Jane Watson.
That's where it's like I almost wonder if if I wouldn't be as bothered if she wasn't the embodiment. She wasn't supposed to be the embodiment of Mary Jane Watson. If she was
Right.
just some completely different character that Peter Parker was interested in or was
Mm-hmm.
friends with, cool, great.
Right. Yeah.
It's
If they made her a completely original character for the MCU, fine. Let her be that bitchy weirdo chick that Peter likes inexplicably has feelings for. Um,
I'd be totally fine with that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, if she was a wholly original character created for the MCU, okay, no problems here, no skin off my nose. But you're doing the fucking sneaky thing by calling her MJ when you know that all comic book readers and all comic book appreciators know that that's the moniker that she goes by that Mary Jane Watson goes by in the comic books.
Yeah, and and I think we talked about this a number of episodes ago on the actual podcast, and when we were talking about um, Crazy Rich Asians and this whole
Mm-hmm.
idea that, oh well, if I can see it on the screen, then I can be it. It's like, yeah, that's horseshit. Like so pretty much like you feel like you're useless, but if you see someone that's exactly like you on screen, then it's like, oh, I can be that too. It's like that's absolutely ridiculous. Because who's on screen that looks like me? Pretty much no one. No one. I mean, there's characters that personality wise, I click with,
Right.
but
I mean, yeah, because like let's be honest, they're splitting the proverbial hairs here, because it can't just be a black person. It has to be a black person from this specific, life experience from this. They basically, they say that you should be able to see yourself in the character, right? Or but it's like that's not the point of it. You should be able to relate to them regardless of who they or what they look like.
yeah,
It's not
it's
like this. Is like you can only relate to them if they look like you, if they are from the same neighborhood as you, same, who has the same similar life experience as you. That's the only way that you can relate to, relate to a character that way. It's like no, so you should be able to see yourself in that character because you are empathizing with, or empathizing, yeah, you're empathizing with that character and what they are going through, and you are somehow able to relate to it.
yeah, right. It's I mean, hell, uh, we talked about this too with Eric when we did the review of Burning. That's a Crean film. No one on there looks like me, but I
Mm-hmm.
fucking like had the reaction that I was there with the main character. I understood the frustration that he was going through, and hell, like the uh, the female lead. I mean, it reminded me so much of my ex girlfriend that it pissed me off so much.
Yes, if you haven't check that episode out that we did the review of Burning with Eric Nocturnal Transitions. It's it's a good, yeah. It got too real for Robert.
Yeah,
You
but that's
can't
the
wait to,
thing. It's
yeah,
like
but it's like that's
it's
funny too
it.
because none of those characters look like me either. Like you know
Yeah, they don't look like you.
despite
They don't.
being ethnically the same as them, they didn't look anything like me.
Yeah, they lived in a completely different world than you,
I
Andy.
know, like I'm a dark skinned yellow boy.
Yeah,
And I'm able to grow, able to grow facial hair. I mean, better than
which
Stephen
don't.
Yoon's character.
Yeah, like because I don't know if the main actor could have grown that facial hair.
Yeah, exactly. See, so it's like, and then and on top of that, I'm a cripple.
Yeah,
So when,
that's
so when am I, when's my representation coming in?
oh remember you were supposed to be aborted, so never.
True, I know. I should have been aborted.
But that's the thing. It's like and the other thing that to me is a problem is the fact that Disney is like they have no more new ideas for one. It's like, okay, if you want to make another Disney film that's not The Little Mermaid, but maybe deal has mermaids in it or whatever, maybe it's a different story. Go for it.
Create an original character. I don't care. Just don't call it Little Mermaid, and use the same everything else.
Well,
You know,
and
and
that's the
that
same
goes
thing
to
with the
the second YouTuber that I saw a video of him commenting about. He did it. He did more of a skit format where he was like kind of doing he was doing both sides of the argument. What was it? Long Beach Griffey, I believe it was. I shared it on my Facebook. But yeah, they're kind of almost doing like a writer's room. He does like a writer's room thing where he plays like both sides. He plays the guy that brings up the idea of doing a live action Little Mermaid, and it's like, oh, but she's black. And then he kind of plays into it. It's like, oh yeah, then let's do a live action Snow White, but with a black chick, and let's call it Black Ice. It's like, oh, let's do a Sleeping Beauty. Let's do a Sleeping Beauty, but make her Mexican. It's like, yeah, and that way she could sleep through her deportation.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
actually
like it just kind of goes off on these ridiculous kind of like reimaginings, and then he finally gets to
right.
the point where it's like it's like why not create like the same things that we just brought up. It's like why don't you create an entirely new character? Um, Stop tokenizing establish white characters.
Right.
Um,
And like I said,
because
and
it's
even
basically
like
sloppy seconds. It's sloppy seconds. It's like, oh, here, black people, take this character that no one really cares about.
it's yours now.
It's like, it's yours now. So yeah, we're kind of rough with it, but just slap some duct tape on it, and it's fine.
It's the whole same thing with like, oh, it's like, well, we need a female James Bond. It's like, okay, well, make your own
It's like,
movie.
oh
It's
yeah,
like, don't
don't take
James Bond.
over. Don't take over James Bond like by making him a woman. It's like just create a female spy who kicks ass and is stylish and sophisticated like James Bond.
Yeah, well, it's like, well, I'll give an example of one that's kind of in that sort of like mystery kind of kind of solving grabbing clues and trying catching a bad guy is like I've been watching Jessica Jones on Netflix, and that was a original character that was created by Marvel. It's fucking great, and it's like the character is supposed to be a woman, and well, I mean, she's has superpowers, yeah, but she's also like kind of that maybe not the sleek and suave, 007, but it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like
I mean, given that Jessica Jones is kind of a damaged character, kind of world weary, um, but she's a great character. She's very compelling. And she has a past, and there's also trauma. Because she was basically turned. She was made into a sex slave. Um,
yeah,
because she was in this thrall of a this twisted man.
so great, yeah.
Completely engaging character. It was completely awesome.
But right, she wasn't like created. It's like it wasn't like Jim Jones, and then they created like oh well now we're gonna make it Jessica Jones and give it's like we're gonna bastardize an original character and just like we'll give it to the women now. It's fine. It's like no, it's like
It's funny
it was
because the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They actually tackled this thing when when they did the Wade Boggs challenge.
yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but then like in like a really recent season, they do like Dee decides that she wants to do the Wade Boggs challenge, but with all females. And they just like
Oh,
they tackle all of the, like the criticisms and like and it's like It's like, yeah, it's like we're gonna do the weight box jump, but with women. It's like, well, isn't that kind of like lazy? That's lame. It's like we're just doing what the guys are doing. It's like, no, but it'd be different
Yeah.
because it'll be different because we're women. It's like, but we're doing the exact same thing. It's like, yeah, as women.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly right. It's right on point. You're not going to new territory. You're pretty much saying that like, well, we can't beat the men, so we'll just take what the men have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't you just create your own cool character? Because like I
Mm-hmm.
said, Jessica Jones, female character, fucking awesome. And well, especially I forget the name of the girl who actually plays her. I think she's a brilliant actress, to be honest. I think she's
Kristen
great.
Ritter.
Yeah, Kristen, that's right. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. For those of you who don't watch Jessica Jones, Jesse Pinkman's girlfriend.
Yeah, that's where I remember seeing her from.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
So
Breaking Bad.
yeah. So I mean, like I care, but then it's like so. Kind of getting back to my point, it's like I don't really care, but I don't want her to be a black girl. You know.
And I don't
You know.
care mainly because I think the whole controversy is completely made up.
I
All
mean,
this
yeah,
stuff is like,
I wouldn't put it past Disney to do this just so this controversy, so it's like so they get free advertising and all stuff. Yeah, because initially I heard they were gonna cast Leah Michele from Glee as Ariel, which I have like some there's some things that I can ding her on, particularly um, but I was trying to indicate that she had a big nose. Um, Yeah, but I mean, she has like the singing ability, and I mean, she's cute in her own way. Uh, but like imagine if they did this to any other kind of character. I mean, what is it? They just recently dropped the Mulan live action Mulan trailer or a teaser
yeah,
trailer,
I saw that.
and yeah, they kept to the Chinese history of the story. They didn't do some stupid stunt casting where they they casted like an Indian chick or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and I was like, but why is it only with like even in Beauty and the Beast where they didn't cast Belle as a minority or whatever, but they even though it was like what was it maybe like 17th or 18th century France, there are black people in it. And people just like kind of
They weren't famous.
they were just like there. It's like, oh no, that's not weird,
At least not in high society, that's for damn sure.
right? But like if they're like trying to be like uh, somewhat accurate to the time period, then like there probably shouldn't have been like as many black people as there were.
Yeah, it's like I said, it is fiction, so it's like whatever, that's
Right?
fine.
Yeah. Like I like take some license. I get it, but imagine if
Here's
they
the
decided to adapt some like African folktale and they, they didn't cast a black person in it, like one black person in it.
oh god, you would
I
never
know,
hear
it's
the
like,
end of
oh
it.
well, we're like, yeah, like we know this, we know this character, these stories exist and this character exists, but we're just gonna, we're just gonna take a little bit of creative liberty here and cast a white person.
Yeah.
Like,
And
imagine doing that, Disney. Imagine doing that.
it'll never happen.
It'll never happen. But for some reason, it's okay to do it for long established, white characters.